in LinkedIn and welcome to DC News Asia. No longer the weekly roundup.
No longer the weekly roundup. And we've got a few stories this week. We've got the launch of a new data center platform by Arch Capital. We've got another new entrant into the Philippines, Megawide. Macquarie closes their deal with Virtus Data Centers and STT GDC. There's an acquisition for some land on the Thai Malaysia border by Area Group, and a new MD for CloudHQ Asia. That seemed pretty professional, I thought.
Yeah, new year, full of changes. So where are we starting? We're starting with Arch Capital. So Rhys, what are we reporting here?
I'm making sure that my mic is turned on. And yeah, Arch Capital, so this is the launch of the new platform, Digital Halo. So Arch Capital, I understand they're a Hong Kong-based private equity real estate fund. They took some major investment from Manulife, the big US pension players, last year. And this is they've got one project that they're launching with, and they've got a new management team. Have you got details on the project?
Yes, so the project is in Manila. It's what was formerly the Space DC side, which is now Digital Halo. Kai Goh, of course, who well known in the industry, has been around for I don't know, a decade or so at least. Formerly head of investments at Keppel, is going to be leading up the platform. From the Arch side, Charles Cosgrove, who again has been around the kind of the telecoms, digital infrastructure space for again quite a while, will be kind of representing the Arch side. Yeah, and they've got plans. I think on the announcement they announced a couple of markets across Southeast Asia and a couple of markets in North Asia as well. So looking at data centers and other digital infrastructure assets.
Yeah, it's to be a whole digital infrastructure portfolio that they're building. So exciting news. Congrats to Kai. Also congrats to Tan Lee Keng, who's been brought in as the CTO. She's also a senior figure at Keppel DC. So yeah, exciting platform, interesting to see. I think this Philippines one, they've actually got a seed asset. It's a small data center that's being upgraded into a bigger campus from what I could gather on the press release.
No, it is a brownfield development, but I think it can be. I think the first phase of the project, which is what I think you're referring to, that can be quite quickly converted into a data center. Yeah. So myself and Vivian, we saw the plot pretty recently when we were in the Philippines. Yeah, and I know it's a nice plot. And I know a lot of people have expressed interest in it. So I think that's a nice project to get the ball running with.
Excellent. And the second story is still in the Philippines. So this is the company called Megawide. Interesting name there. I guess it's nice to have something without the word digital somewhere in the title or edge or anything similar. But this is the Aboitiz Group, who recently sold their stake in the Mactan Cebu International Airport, and they've got a big war chest to spend. They put what I calculate as about $1.3 billion into this data center business. Any details on this one?
When you say 1.3 billion, I have 130 million, so let's clarify that in the notes. I think one of us is missing or adding a zero.
I had a peso number on the press release that I read.
Yes, yeah, it was 7 billion pesos. So yeah, let's do our DD after this and get the actual correct number. Yeah, launching the first project they want to announce is a 30 megawatt facility in the kind of Cavite area, which there's not too much activity there right now. STT/Globe have got something on. I've got something on there, but I'd say that there's not too much going on. Having said that, there's no real obvious clusters in Manila just yet, I think, until the kind of hyperscalers set up their AZs, etc. It's going to be difficult to know exactly where these clusters are going to form, but yeah, it looks interesting and one definitely to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, 30 megawatts is substantial, isn't it? I think the current market capacity there, according to DC Byte, is less than 100 megawatts. So it's a lot of
live capacity is just over 40 megawatts. Small market still, but a lot of growth potential.
Awesome. The third story, probably just a quick mention for this one because we did report on it when the deal was announced. But Macquarie and STT/GDC have closed on the deal for Macquarie to invest into Virtus data centers, which I think they've got sites across Europe.
Right now they're a UK focused operator. I think they have 11 sites mainly across the Greater London area. But this investment is to help them go further afield. I think some of the sites mentioned previously, Germany, Spain, Poland, Italy maybe as well. So yeah, this is a pretty significant minority stake. I believe I'm not sure if it was officially announced, but I believe it's in the 40% range. Yeah, and this is going to help them like expand this platform, which is near 200 megawatts, like I said, across Greater London into some of the other markets across Europe.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see. I think that's what the context we were talking about was 2 Asian players going into the rest of the global markets and expanding. Macquarie, of course, the main investor in AirTrunk, and they have investments in aligned data centers and neutrality data centers in the US as well. So really spreading their wings now with Europe into the mix too. The next story we had was, this is in, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation as usual, it's my turn here. This is the Delapan Special Border Economic Zone, and it's an area on the Thai-Malaysia border. I think it's on the Malaysia side. And there's a project there, Open DC. I think this was announced, Vivian mentioned this was announced last year.
Yes, Vivian, we can actually ask you, when was it announced?
Earlier last year.
Yeah, earlier last year.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we've got a live studio audience here today, first time. Usually don't come into the office, but today we are, because we're checking out a bigger space. Anyway, tell me more about this deal, Rhys.
Yeah, well, so there's an HOA, which I understand is the Malaysian equivalent of a usual MOU, to buy 150 acres, and this is from a new company called Area Group, who are a Singapore private equity advisory group. Open DC, who own the original project, are a subsidiary of Extreme Broadband, a Malaysian broadband company with a better name than some of the ones that I've signed up to in the past.
Yeah, well, again, this is one we've been keeping our eye on internally. Interesting, the announcement that's come now. Again, another one to keep an eye on. Is there big demand for capacity up in this area? It's kind of difficult to say right now, but yeah, let's keep an eye on it, because obviously a lot going on in Malaysia. It's a hot market, not just Johor, but also the greater KL area, and we are seeing other developments in some of the smaller cities around Malaysia. So yeah, want to keep an eye on. And then finally, you want to issue a congratulations.
Yes, congrats to Jonathan Tan, former MD of Yonder for APAC. I think most who are watching would have seen or met Jonathan at some point. He's been appointed as the MD for CloudHQ Asia. So this is a company that I've certainly had my eye on for a little while in terms of coming into APAC. I know they've got sites all around the UK, Germany, France, plenty across the US, I think in Virginia and things. But yeah, I haven't seen any announcements yet in Asia, but they've been circling for a while.
Yeah, again, I'm not gonna spill the beans on where I've heard they're looking, but it's in some of the, let's just say, hot markets across the region. I think they've built, I'm not sure built, but I think they've got a pipeline of capacity of like 300-ish, 320 megawatts or so across North America and now Europe, and obviously now the final step will be APAC, and yeah, looks like Johnson's the person to kind of get that rollout across the region going. So again, really exciting one to keep an eye on, and be interesting to see where they plant their flag first. Yeah,
absolutely. And if you've watched this far, you can. I'm going to do the YouTube thing that I said I wouldn't do. So if you've watched this far, you should be doing a like and a comment, and maybe even subscribing, so that we actually get more of the algorithm stuff going. Is that? I hate that, but you see it on YouTube videos, people do it, it's a thing. So I'm thinking we should do it.
We don't need more fans. We already have thousands and thousands of people tuning in every week. Anyway, do you want to plug yourself in at PTC again?
I think everyone's aware, but yeah, I am at PTC next week. My diary is pretty full, but I'd be happy to meet up. I'm sure there's some beer slots and things I can fit in the evenings if people are around. Otherwise, I'll just be lonely at my hotel room. So yeah, see people in Hawaii if anyone's around.
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned before, I'm not going this year. Becoming a daddy again next week for the second time, but we are still doing the roundup.
Yes, we are still doing the roundup, pending obviously, Ruth, and whether that's unfortunately timed.
Yeah, well, no, I think we'll squeeze in the roundup regardless.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and yeah, see you all next week.
Cheers, happy Friday.